Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Friday, December 9th, 9:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 2022. It appears at sunset as if Mauna Loa is coming to a close, and that could be good news for the people of the Big Island, but not for tourists, as the sun appears very active, but is in fact very quiet. The big story, back-to-back storms could bring up to 6 feet of snow in Tahoe. Oh no! Keep calm, it's boom time. It's true, folks. Back-to-back storms poised to slam California's Sierra Nevada Thursday through Sunday could bring 4 to 6 feet of fresh snow to the higher elevations of the Tahoe Basin. And winter storm, there is a potential for a major winter storm in the upper Midwest, the northern plains. It's insane. And all this happening at the same time that the UAH satellite data comes in to show, well, the Earth has been cooling for years. Did you know that? Let's check out the GFS model and see if we can put this all together. Is this global warming goodness that is pouring down the Pacific Northwest into the Sierras? Well, yes, and there's the big bomb out. This is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, lose day for the northern plains. Let's take a look at the snow totals, shall we? Here is tonight through Saturday morning, heavy snow moving into the Pacific Northwest, and that is going to move south through Sunday. Take a look at those totals. Sunday alone, 4 to 5 feet of snow along the entire spine of the Sierras. As the snow moves east, the Four Corners region will be hit Monday, Tuesday, and by Tuesday, that storm develops in the northern plains, bringing 18 to 20 inches to many regions, North, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Heavy lake effect is going to be happening there in Michigan, PA. So we have a very active system here in the next week, and what a tweak. It could be getting quite white for the Christmas season, which is good news. Now, a major storm is arriving in the western U.S. A major Pacific storm system will arrive in the Pacific Northwest and produce locally heavy rain, heavy mountain snow. Shut up, Al! Gusty winds and a slew of marine hazards. This significant storm will dig down the west coast over the weekend into the southwestern U.S. for Saturday, Sunday. By Monday, it'll be in the Four Corners region in southwestern Colorado. Expect a heavy excessive rainfall along the California coast and widespread heavy mountain snow across the west. It will be the best. Now, even in Europe, they're going to be picking up some heavy totals. The UK, continuous snow and winter conditions throughout December, a December to remember. But the biggest story here is take a look at this: Poland and Belarus, Russia. We're going to be seeing some heavy totals early in the winter season, a season of pleasing. Take a look at this. The French Alps are going to be potentially picking up 7 or 8 feet of snow by Christmas. So the skiing will be epic in the French Alps. Now, British citizens are being warned of the thunder snow as experts predict extreme cold and traffic chaos. So heads up, UK, hey. Seismic update. We just had a boomer, 4.6 off the coast of Cali. Could be some activity there happening, well, in a region we don't want it to be happening at, the Cascadia zone. So this happens to be in a transition, so nothing to worry about there, nothing spectacular. We have a little accentuated seismicity here in the Philippines, down into Indonesia, but nothing major on the map. Good news, worldwide volcano news update. Good news there, nothing big erupting worldwide. This just the general standard amount of volcanoes, about 30 erupting around the world right now, as we head over to the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory daily update. So the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory daily update from Mauna Loa. The northeast rift zone eruption of Mauna Loa continues. Fissure 3 vent continues to erupt with a reduced supply of lava and reduced gas emissions this morning. As of 7 a.m. today, December 9th, activity at the F3 vent is significantly reduced, producing low fountains that feed lava flows extending only 1.2 miles from the vent. The channels below this point appear drained of lava and probably no longer feed of the main flow front. This is good news. If we look at seismicity, there's nothing happening. Let's take a look. Let's get an overlay here of the satellite. There's nothing happening seismically at the volcano whatsoever. So it appears as if the volcano has ended, and we're going to call it the end of the Mauna Loa eruption early. There is still some activity happening on the flank in Pahala, but that means very little. And if you come over to our Twitter feed at Oppenheimer Ranch Project, at Diamond the Dave on Twitter, which will be linked below, everything we talk about is linked below, so you can do your own homework. You will get maps and updates of the Mauna Loa lava flow in the most recent tweet, as well as the Civil Defense Volcanic Hazard website, the Civil Defense Volcanic Hazard map, and a detailed analysis of how to get to these places. Now, the flow front has ended. This is Saddle Road, which they didn't want it to cross. This would cause extreme hardships for the entire island of Hawaii, and it appears as if this flow front has died out. And we can even, this is the most growth in the last 24 hours. Almost nothing happening. This baby is cooling down. So this is day. And you can see today, very little happening. So really good news on the flow front. This is the only active region happening right now. And this is coming from Fissure 3, and this is the only lava flow present. So almost nothing happening. Here we are live at Two Pineapples at the Mauna Loa eruption array, where they're showing uplift and inflation and deflation, and now there's more uplift there. This means that more magma is being in place with low seismicity, and the initial plume is now done. So the eruption at Mauna Loa, according to Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Diamond, the scientist on site, that the eruption is coming to an end. So unless anything changes in the next day or so, it's over, Johnny. Space Weather News update. The sun is peppered with spots. Let's look at the latest HMI intensity, and it is literally peppered with spots. Good-looking sunspots, but we're just getting no action. We did have a little flurry of activity with a detaching filament and some C flares over the limb here, so we could see some activity coming in soon. And if we just look at the SDO A1A 193 angstroms moving through the last 24 hours, most of the major active regions are silent, just flickering. We do have a plasma filament here that ejects off into space. You can see the filament here, and we do have some activity coming over the limb. But what we've been seeing from this solar minimum sun, this grand solar minimum sun, is that any activity that is coming over the limb is shut down as it turns Earth-facing. Now, what this means for our future is bad things, that the sun is gaining energy even though it's in a shutdown mode. And at some point, it will be very angry, and it will shoot a solar flare directly at Earth. This isn't conjecture. This is based on historical documentation. Here we are over at telemetry. Let's just freshen this up, see if anything's changed. We do have a phi angle shift now, basically going back to quiet, and everything is dropped. All telemetry is dropping off over the last few hours. So the sun has gone dead, as predicted. Now, behold the best Northern Lights photographs of 2022. Who knew? But we should open up some of these images. There is the best one. Well, I don't know. I just made that up. But it should be. Take a look at the Milky Way and the burning aurora at this light point. Wow, that's a lighthouse point unbeknownst to me. Yeah, Nugget Point Lighthouse Aurora by Douglas Thorne is the winner. Chicken dinner. But there are so many good photographs here of aurora this year. It's mind-bending. And it has everything to do with the weakening magnetosphere, more energy coming in on the poles. Now, if you guys have been following the channel since its inception, do you remember 2 years ago when the mainstream was saying that there is going to be no more aurora ever again? I didn't pull up any of those articles, but I could. Just Google it. And so how wrong they were. In fact, since the time they published some of that nonsense, we've seen new auroras in the form of Steve and other different red aurora, white aurora. Three different new types of aurora in just the last few years. And so, holy macaroni. Look at the channeled scablands. My goodness. These photographers all deserve an award, in my opinion. And that's a boom. Now, some scientific updates. Take a look at this. DNA from 2 million years ago reveals a lost Arctic world. And not only that, it continues to push our theory further. And it just doubled the time where the North Pole has not shifted to 2 million years. So if you're waiting for a pole shift or anything dramatic to happen to the Earth where the crust slips, it hasn't happened for 2 million years based on DNA evidence. The paper coming out shows that the oldest DNA is 2 million years old, and it's been in Greenland frozen for the entire time. Now, the amazing thing is that 2 million years ago, it was warm on Greenland, and the environment was subtropical. How could that be? Well, because 2 million years ago was before the Ice Age began, or just at the inception. So it was much warmer on Earth. In fact, there was no polar ice. So we had mammoths and hares and just an amazing amount of fauna scampering around Earth. And Leah and I will be talking about this tomorrow on our radio show at freedomslips.com, Revolution Radio, Studio B, 12 noon Mountain Time. So join us there. And if you miss it, we'll be posting the video on Magnetic Reversal News later that night. Now, a ghostly glow of light surrounds the solar system, and nobody can explain it. Not even astrophysicists, not even astronomers. They're baffled. And this is the narrative that has been ongoing for 10 years, and the reason why the standard model of cosmology is dead. They don't see the electricity. They don't see the light. An extinction-level asteroid that could someday hit Earth was recently found hiding near Venus. Now, there's good reason for this, kids. Those who have driven a car are surely familiar with the idea of blind spots, the areas around you where you can't easily see, and thus are uniquely vulnerable to threats. That principle applies to asteroids and asteroid hunting just as easily. As telescope technology continues to advance, astronomers have used their scopes to peer into these nearby areas of our solar system that are normally difficult to observe, the blind spots. And this brings us, to the recent telescopic observations at Cerro Tolo Inter-American Observatory in Chile. The astronomical journal there determined there are 3 near-Earth asteroids hiding within the glare of the sun, and which apparently had not been previously noticed. And these are big ones, biggins. These particular asteroids are lurking between the orbits of Earth and its closest neighbor in the direction of the sun, Venus, the morning star. One of them is the largest potentially hazardous near-Earth object spotted in the last 8 years. The findings is particularly alarming because they suggest that there are some uncatalogued, potentially dangerous asteroids that are gigantic that humanity has missed in its quest to catalog and identify potentially civilization-destroying asteroids or comets, which is the topic of our radio program, Cosmic Catastrophe, Saturday afternoons on Revolution Radio. Now, in particular, the newly discovered asteroid, dubbed 2022 AP7, orbits the sun in such a manner that it might someday intersect, and strike the Earth, and then it's boom time. Now, what else is boom time? An interview with Valentina Zarkova, coming up in just a few weeks. Now, Valentina sent us over her most recent paper, which we will also discuss on the radio show tomorrow and maybe do an entire podcast on. Terrestrial volcanic eruptions and their possible links with solar activity. How amazing is that? Almost everything we talk about from the initial podcast to this day is now being confirmed by science. In fact, there hasn't even been a blip in anything we've predicted since about 7 or 8 years ago. Everything has been corroborated. And now, terrestrial volcanic eruptions and their possible links with solar activity being corroborated here by Valentina Zarkova, who will join us on the show in just a few weeks. So read the paper and get up to speed, and that's a boom. To knowledge, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Hope you got something out of the video. Please join us tomorrow for the live stream on Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Studio B at 12 noon Mountain Time for our next episode of Cosmic Catastrophe. And who knows where that will bring us into the future of our theory and all of the science we've been doing to bring you up to speed. We're not here to scare you. We're here to prepare you. Be safe. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. Become a Patreon. Support the work we do. We love you. Be safe. Happy holidays.